A man who doesn't better his land has a fool for a landlord. Such a fun statement. What does it mean to better your land? Well, with BC assessment, land improvements are the buildings and the services such as the water and the sewer and the storm sewer, and those are land improvements. You can have, whether it's treed or cleared as an improvement, driveways, road leading up to, these are all improvements. Garages, improvement. House, definitely the improvement, the main improvement. Pools, improvement. Hedges, improvements. So, and most always. So, what is it that you can do as a homeowner that is what I might think is status quo, but probably isn't? And that's, water your lawn on Saturday or Sunday morning when you're allowed to. You have a 3-hour window from 6 to 9 if you don't have a built-in system, and you can put sprinklers around your house. They have, you can buy on Amazon these, whether it's from Orbit or somebody else, these battery operated water timers, and it will, you can tell it, just turn on Saturday or Sunday morning from 6 to 7 at this hose, and then for the next hour I want you to run hose number 2, and for between 8 and 9 I'd like you to run hose number 3, and let's get the backyard done. And you haven't had to do anything other than move the hoses when the lawns grow, and the lawns will keep growing and they will be green. And so that's a big improvement. And why do I think it's such a big deal? Well, because when you come up to a house in the springtime and it's a spring market, everybody's buying it because the flowers are great. And that's important. And if you can have that all year round, you have that spring house. And flowers, you can water your flowers and your hedges and your trees every day from 6 to 9 on a sprinkler. So set up an automatic sprinkler and take care of your property and the things that are living on it, these trees and grasses. And mow them regularly. Don't let your property become the property that brings down the neighborhood. If your neighbors see a rundown property, it's like dirty dishes in the sink. Maybe their house will be next, and people will just stop taking care. And next thing you know, you live in a neighborhood that's not getting good real estate dollars when it comes for someone to sell, because people are not as impressed when they come into the neighborhood. And people do look at the neighbors when they buy a house. So water your lawns, mow your lawns, trim your hedges. There's nothing worse than walking to the store and having a bunch of blackberries across the driveway. So or across the sidewalk. Anybody with a bicycle, they're going to pop their tires, or, it's just not good neighborly conduct to not maintain your property, at least in that fashion. It's not a perfect world. We all run into our situations where we can't. It's nice when neighbors can help out neighbors. It can still happen these days. It's up to us to lead by example, show our neighbors that we care about our property, and maybe they'll take an interest and care in their properties if they're not now. And especially, it's contagious. So that's the green. That's the fresh outdoor landscaping that, no need to overlook it. I guess it's the key that you have to learn to love the things you do and take pride in it. And if it doesn't look good, I can understand why it becomes a chore. But if it looks great, it's like, oh, I can't wait to make that look even better, is a great, healthy mindset. The, paint on the wood, if you can get to fresh coat of paint, it slides on real nice if it's not cracking. And if you wait till it's cracked and dried up, you got a lot of sanding and scraping or however you're going to do it. You got a lot of prep to do. Whereas if you get the paint on and give it a light sanding before the paint is a problem, it's going to cost you less in the long run. And you can do it yourself. It's not going to be that tedious. You can do the trim around an entire side of the house in a short afternoon if you're competent And if you're not, hire somebody, and it'll cost you less to have them come out and do it. Throw painting parties, have fun with your friends, maintaining each other's houses. Make these little group networks of friends who help each other out through that type of do-it-yourself home maintenance. Which makes me think, a regular flushing of your sewer pipes isn't a bad idea. You can get some products that are made to just sit overnight in put them down your bathtub sink, and the enzymes get to work dissolving anything that might be in the pipes, just to keep them clean when you don't have a problem. I know I've had a client who had told me about this problem that they had, and they'd had a bad flood, or maybe not a bad flood as much as a bad clog, and they knew that dealing with it has in the past resulted in plumbers and opening up and having a big mess, and just because of their particular home and the design of it. And now I'm thinking about it, it's not a client, it's a friend and a fellow realtor. And so, yeah, and this happens to him relatively regularly, like regular meaning every once in a while it happens again. And so we were discussing, like, you should let this stuff go in there and do it more often before it's a problem. Regular maintenance. If you know you've got something that happens, deal with it, and don't let it become that problem. And that's the responsibility of home ownership. Yeah, I mean, if you've got pavers for a sidewalk and they're uneven, they used to be nice and flat one day, and all it takes is good weekend of maybe 2 weekends. I always say the short time, of just pulling them back and re-leveling it and tamping it and just freshening it out. It's not like you're going to have to excavate all the gravel and everything underneath again. You're just going to have to freshen it up, and when you're done, you know exactly why you did it. You just be like, why didn't I do it sooner? These are the types of things that when you do them and you're done, you're like, I know why I did that. It's obvious, and you wish you had done it sooner. So these are the things that I think are just a few of the examples of really good things to take on, or the types of things to take on. It's called sweat equity, and we've all heard about it maybe before we bought our houses, like, oh, people make this sweat equity, and that's the stuff that just takes time. You're just going to sit down, and that's like the pavers. That doesn't take any money. That is just time. You're going to sit down and go to work. You might have a couple tools to rent, or there's a couple tools to buy. You can do it with a hand tamper for sure. It's a little bit more work. I look at it as exercise, and it's good for your health. What other kinds of things? All of this stuff is good for your health. Whether it's mowing the lawn, it's a big walk, or which reminds me, I found this new hand fertilizer. It's just a little thing you hold in your hand. It holds maybe a few cups of fertilizer, and I fill that thing up, and I do my whole yard with it. And whereas I used to fill up this other thing and walk it all the way around, so I can do it more often, and it's just easier. I'm not walking all the way along. I can do it in 2 walks. Walk one way because it spreads about 8 feet each way. And so little things like that you learn that make doing these things easier, because it's always been a tedious thing to fertilize the lawn, and this made it easier. And the tool's cheaper than a normal one. It's probably half the price. And then let's not even get into how easy it is to get stuff off of Amazon these days. But yeah, that's some of the stuff that you can do it. You just don't, like fertilizing the lawn. I've heard lots of different stories. Oh, once I fertilized my lawn, next thing you know, I got moles. Moles seems to like fertilizer, and it's just a funny one. Maybe there is some truth to them liking the roots or something like that, but you can deal with moles too, and that's something I've learned how to do over the years, and it's part of home ownership. If you got a mole problem, you can deal with it. It's only one. They're very territorial. If you've got a mole hole all over your yard, that's one mole tearing it up. You just got to catch that one guy, and you don't have a mole problem anymore. Maybe one will move in if you got some really nice yard that they all talk about when they do get together. I don't know, but you can get rid of them, and next thing you know, then maybe they're talking about you for other reasons. People keep disappearing, or moles keep disappearing. So yeah, that's my fun. I could go on forever about this because you know what? I love real estate. I love teaching real estate, talking to you guys about real estate. If you ever have any questions, more personal in nature, give me a holler, 604-880-3275.